we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica, the number 3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
Hello, this is Alex Jones with some important questions. If you're going into a battle and they give you a rifle and a sidearm, how much ammunition do you want? My answer would be all I can get. In the battle for freedom and the lives of your loved ones, food is your only ammunition. How much do you want? When do you want it? Now or after the battle starts? When will you need it? Can you buy it without proper identification? Will there be any food? Will it make your children sick? If there's a quarantine and you can't feed yourself, will you go to the gathering center and be immunized? You wipe out all these problems if you have a good food supply. Food is your ammunition to fight for your freedom and your life. How much will you need? We don't know. How much do you want? All you can get. I'm Alex Jones. I want all of you good guys to live to fight another day. Call 1-800-409-5633 or check it out on the web at efoodsdirect.com. Again, that number, 1-800-409-5633.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're going to be looking next hour at Jared Lee Loughner. And I got to tell you, the evidence is leaning towards mind control. Electroshock, drugs, then they literally program the brain where they have a compulsion to kill. He told friends that. He talked about it on his MySpace. And I don't come at this just because I like to say, oh, there aren't lunatics out there that go out and do violent things. I come at this because I've been doing research for 16 years on air, really 18 years on and off air. And I have the LA Times where it came out that the Unabomber, Theodore Kaczynski, was a CIA MK-Ultra mind control victim. He volunteered for it, when he was at Princeton, and then disappeared for several years. I know that Lee Harvey Oswald, it came out, and Jim Marrs, the real expert on that's supposed to talk about it, was in the same LSD experiments. You can't make this stuff up. And then when you look at a lot of the other famous people, Sirhan, I mean, I've got London Independent and the Guardian newspaper saying conclusively it was a Manchurian candidate. Mark David Chapman, complete operation. Told friends and family, girlfriend who's working for the government. John Hinckley Jr. We could spend hours on each one of these. The point is, these are real programs. This is going on. But as for the idea that we can go download your computer when you kill somebody and then blame anyone that you liked for it is crazy. And the media said there were WMDs in Iraq when they knew it wasn't true, and now over 1 million dead Iraqis, 6,000 dead U.S. troops. You know, there you can really point out where lies are leading to violence. But the government's doing politically destructive things. There is a move towards revolution in this country. I want to keep it peaceful. But right now, they have a reason to stage these false flags, to mail government buildings, these firecracker bombs, as a way to start using this giant police state and the telescreens going in, the Walmarts and the surveillance and the TSA on the streets. That's what this is all about. So joining us at least 30 minutes, maybe even longer in the next hour, but he's on a deadline for a book he's writing, is Jim Marrs, a real expert on this area. And I'm an expert too, but he's a super expert on these Manchurian candidates. Jim Marrs is an American former newspaper journalist, New York Times best-selling author, who's a crime reporter for the 4-Star Telegram, and articles on a wide range of cover-ups. He wrote the book for Oliver Stone's film. It just goes on and on. He taught the first, college course on the JFK assassination at the University of Texas at Arlington. He's a member of Scholars for 9/11 Truth. JimMars.com is his website. Jim, this is a quick segment. We're going to come back, but let's go through some of the history of MK Ultra over and over again. I've got to say, over 80% of the time, we end up proving that these guys were in government programs. They had a shooter years ago up in Fort Worth, 12 years ago, turned out was in a secret Navy mind control program. Remember the guy that went in the Baptist church?
Yeah, that was the church shooting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just never ends. We're not the ones reporting this. We're just covering it. You've got the floor on the history of mind control.
Well, this really goes back, again, to the Nazis. As you well know, since you've read and promoted my book, The Rise of the Fourth Reich. In fact, the judges at the Nuremberg war crime trials sentenced 7 German scientists to death for their part in human mind control experiments. Well, the CIA picked it up, and by 1954, the Artichoke program was underway as part of the CIA's technical services staff. And they were not alone. The Navy was also working at this. And that's why in 1959 we saw the book, The Manchurian Candidate, which was made into that movie with Frank Sinatra. During the Korean War, early 50s, there was a lot of concern about them getting hold of some of our soldiers and brainwashing them and turning them into brainwashed assassins and spies. And what's amazing is there was a Marine at Atsugi Base in Japan who served with Lee Harvey Oswald, who said that Oswald had been part of an LSD experiment there. So while I personally do not think that Oswald was necessarily a brainwashed assassin, that we still have the telltale fingerprints of government mind control experiments and drug experiments. They even killed a man named Olson who threw himself out of a window after being surreptitiously flipped LSD. This is your tax dollars in action. So it's certainly not any ways far out of line to be talking about brain-controlled.
Well, they had the 77 hearings where they admitted they spent billions of dollars in creating mind control assassins who have no memory.
Exactly. And the thing is, too, if you'll go back to some of the notorious shooting instances, Cho at Virginia Tech, which, by the way, was right there by Blackburn, Tennessee, which is some of these mind control and drug experiments were going on, and the shooting down at Fort Hood, which was an Army psychologist, psychiatrist, who ended up shooting a lot of the people that belonged to the psychiatric department. Now, you know, what's going on here? Well, of course, the media, all they can talk about is guns. Guns. Well, you know, come on, I grew up in Texas. We all had guns. We took guns to school sometime. Nobody shot anybody. The difference is drugs. It's the drugs. Cho, the 2 boys at Columbine, all these guys, they were all on psychiatric, psychotropic drugs. And when you get people on those types of drugs, you got all kinds of problems.
And by the way, just to interrupt and back you up, in the 1980 trials of Prozac, they found a massive increase in psychotic breaks, people going into almost a dream state, and that their normal impulse control was no longer there. So if you got somebody who already leaning towards psychopathic behavior, then you get a woman drowning her 4 kids or chopping their arms off, or people going, and in almost every case, I can't even think of any, Kip Kinkle, Harris Klebold, the list, they're always on Prozac-type serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which also were developed for the government decades before as psychotropic mind control drugs. Please continue.
Exactly. In fact, at first of 2009, I believe, the largest cause of death in the U.S. military was suicide. They even shut down Fort Campbell, Kentucky for a time because they were having such an outbreak of suicides, and all those people were given psychiatric drugs. It's the drugs, but you're not going to hear about that in the corporate-controlled mass media because the pharmaceutical corporations are one of, if not their largest advertisers, so they're not going to talk about that. But, Alex, you do, you can, and you do.
Please continue getting into mind control.
Okay. Well, you had Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, who was authorized by Alan Dulles, who, let's not forget, sat on the Warren Commission to figure out, gee, what really happened to President Kennedy. And he began to set up the MK-Ultra program. Of course, and even with all we know today, and all of that's been well documented, it's been the object of congressional committees, but even with what we know today, we don't really know the full extent of that because Richard Helms ordered Gottlieb to destroy all of their documentation. But it's all been continued on at Plum Island and at Fort Detrick and all of these other places. And one of the things in my new book, The $1 Trillion Conspiracy, which I want to thank you, Alex, for helping to promote, there's a whole section on mycoplasma. Mycoplasma is a wall-less protein that actually activates disease, bacteria, and viruses, and causes a variety of ailments, such as fibromyalgia, Alzheimer's, diabetes type 2, just on and on. But it depends on your individual proclivity. Now, this is an incredibly wonderful biological weapon because most doctors can't find it because they're looking for a virus or a bacteria, and you can't find it.
And that's Plum Island, just like the Lyme's disease.
Exactly. And this mycoplasma, by the way, is probably the cause of Lyme disease. And we had this, the Nazis brought it over, we perfected it, crystallized it, turned it into a synthetic, and in 1986 sold it to Saddam Hussein. And then, of course...
And that came out in congressional hearings.
Yes. And then during the first Gulf War, he used it against the U.S. troops, who then carried this back over to the United States. And according to several doctors, this is now has spread throughout the United States population.
And the government's got the treatment for it, but won't tell the troops because then they'd have to admit that it came from what our own government gave Saddam Hussein. That's even come out in congressional hearings. We're going to be back in 60 seconds. We're going to start the second hour. Some stations, 5-6 minutes, who carry the news. And I want to get into the history of mind control, Sirhan with RFK, so many others. Then we're going to look at Jared Lee Loughner, this demonic creature who killed all of these people and wounded so many others, and the media now saying restrict free speech in America because of this. Are we going to let them further destroy the republic because of their walking dead they got out there? We'll be right back. Stay with us. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As they're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv. Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. You've heard me talk about Cal-Ben 5-star soaps for years. This is an American-made product of the highest quality and compares to nothing you will find in stores. You can buy factory direct, shipped via UPS right to your door. Check them out on the web at 5starsoap.com. or call 800-340-7091. Take my word for it. Once you've used Pure Soap, you won't buy anything else. Since 1947, Cal-Ben Soap Company has been showing consumers that soap can be tough on dirt and gentle on the environment. Buy American and stay clean, as well as support InfoWars. Visit 5starsoap.com today or call 1-800-340-7091. Well, Marty, what do you have to say?
As founder and owner for over 63 years, satisfaction is guaranteed or double your dirt back. Call us at 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog or visit our website, 5starsoap.com. Thank you.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
He's the T-Rex of political talk.